Hello and welcome everyone. Apa khabar? Hafiz here, and we are now in game week 36, of which we are going to have Newcastle and Brighton playing double this week. My name is Hafiz. I would like to welcome Azmin to the stream. How are you, brother?
Hello. I just had probably it could quite possibly the most crappy game week for the whole season. I don't know. It's pretty bad. It seems like it was the case for many of us. Due to the players that we had. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too fast. Let's move on to the last 3 game weeks of the season, starting this Saturday.
Yep. Pretty much that's what Azmi have already wrap up about. It is a low scoring game week. Okay. I think we share our team performance later. Of which I think both of us has a bit of a red arrow last week. I think it's definitely a big two double game week coming up in 36 and 37. Like Azmin mentioned, before we close the season with game week 38. So pretty much we are running out of time. If let's say we are chasing especially, but most importantly, we want to finish the season with on the high note. Yeah.
Yep. So in terms of, I guess for me, I need to at least finish under 1 million. But let's see how we go.
All right. Would like to welcome Raikan RPL to the stream. All right. And most definitely, there are some good talking points for this week. We are going to list two of them in here. First, we're going to review our team, how we perform in game week 35. We look at some FPL stats and analysis. We gonna touch, the big dilemma, the most big talking point for this week, Isaac versus Wilson. If you already have two Newcastle assets, which one you're going to play as a front up for this game week? We do have also going to discuss on the Brighton asset, especially on Solimatch, because we know he's actually been injured on game week 35 game. Okay, against Everton, they lost big one, 5-1. We're gonna have a look at game week 36 fixture. Okay, and then the captain pick for this week definitely going to revolve around these two players, Isaac and also Wilson, and then what's our transfer plan will be. So I think let's jump straight to your team first, You scored 36 points, and the average point for this week is actually 39. So definitely it's a low scoring game.
Yep, it's a low scoring game, and the plus that fact I also got I took a hit, so I'm actually on 32. So it's pretty bad, and where else to kick off than Steel? Oh wow, what a horrible week it turned out to be. With an own goal and conceding, getting trashed by Everton. Okay, so moving on. So Liverpool, my transfers were, I had brought in Gakpo, and I sold Buonanotte.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, Buonanotte. And so surprising, he still started last week. But yeah, so I sold Darwin and brought in Solanke. So obviously, looking at that, I could have just left it alone because neither of them returned. So it's pretty disappointing. And so 4 points, five points for -4, total of 1 point gain, which is nothing. Means that you might as well leave it, and I would have had an extra. I would I would still be okay, meaning Darwin and Buonanotte there. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I'm more confident of Gakpo starting than Darwin, and Darwin, he started 2 in a row, and unfortunately he did have 1 assist but no goals. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him back on the bench after Klopp's comments, and Gakpo will come back in together with either Jota or Diaz. So anyway, other than that, I also, unfortunately, and this is where I thought the Rashford hit my, captaining Rashford would come off, but Manchester United lost to West Ham, and Manchester United were quite poor in the sense in terms of goal scoring, in terms of attempts at goal.
Yeah. I think,
Um,
that's a bold one from you. I think captaining Rashford.
yeah,
Most people are captaining Haaland, but it could have been paid off if, let's
could have
say, normally you captain Salah, right? I think, yeah.
Yeah. So Salah was clearly the right captaincy there. Just one goal, but it was more than enough considering everyone else blanked. Then Mitoma, Solanke. So the Newcastle blank, Trippier once again disappointed, and so I will have him into the double game week. But looking at his track record, it's not been great. He has not. He's been poor compared to the first half of the season, and yeah, so he hasn't done much. So nothing much there. Stones was getting benched. That was a surprise, and I was able to see at this during the free deadline that Stones
Okay.
wasn't starting, so I had immediately benched him, and and he never came on anyway, so it didn't matter. So no real harm with the bench. Although Raya would have given me extra 3 points over Steele, which would have been funny.
But we always gonna play Steel if I have him anyway, because Raya is actually play against Liverpool, who can
Yeah,
actually go.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But Raya's done one of these things where he still ends up scoring better. Yeah. So
I
yeah,
think I think
disappointing.
I think to be fair, that Brighton 1-5 loss to Everton, nobody could expect that. So that's pretty much unexpected.
So the City match was the talking point was, of course, Haaland not taking that penalty because Gundogan was trying to get the hat trick, and apparently he got yelled at by Pep. So it looks like that's not going to happen anymore. So um, felt like Pep always wants Haaland to get a goal, and because he played for the whole 90 minutes. Yeah,
Yep.
and yeah, even though with the Real Madrid corner, we were talking about how he's going to start and probably get taken off, and he stayed for the whole 90 minutes despite the fact that City were leading comfortably. So it
Just
felt like
just to add in to you, I mean, he did also play Real Madrid 90 minutes.
yeah,
The
so he's
Champions
played a
League.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think something. Remember at the start of the season, then when we were a bit worried, and when the first double midweek matches came around, thinking that he may not get as much, but in the end, Pep still played him anyway. So his first choice, and at his age, not an issue. So it's just that Haaland not scoring anything in the end, it didn't make a difference. Me captaining Rashford. Obviously, I think a lot of the people who increased in rank this week were those who captained Salah.
All right, we shall see on the stats later. Let's go quickly to my team. I scored 37 points, man. Okay, you take a hit, but I did not do anything, so I rolled my transfer. But pretty much my score is lower than whatever average point last week, which is 39. So that actually made my rank down a bit from 26k to 27k right now. Okay, so pretty much like, is it 500 places down? Okay. So in goals, I decided to play Kepa, but in the end, it turns out they scored the same points, man. Raya and also Kepa. Chelsea did concede a goal. Okay, same with Raya, concede only one goal against Liverpool, but they managed to make 1 point save. So that's why we Kepa. So can I say a bit disappointed because they still concede, but in the end 3 points equals to Raya. So no big difference there.
Not difference, yeah.
Okay, so Trent 7 points like everyone else. Trippier only 1 point. Yes, again disappointing. Estupinan, Neopon. So, but when looking at your team, still negative 2 points. So, I pretty much say that yeah, I'll take it 0 points instead of -2. So, no point from Estupinan, and Brighton lost 5-1. Nobody expect that. In midfield, I got Mitoma, like you mentioned, only got 1 assist from McAllister goal, man. McAllister looks like we touch later. He got a back-to-back goal, so he's on form right now. Can I say that? Rashford only 2 points. Salah 10 points. And then March, I think that's the one worry because he did not start that match. Then after that, poor result. Everton, I think they concede 3 goals in the first half. Then Dizabi throw like Solimash and some other players into second half, but then he got injured when he tried to run back to get a ball, and at like 77 minutes and be replaced off. So only got 1 minute, and now much could be a concern not starting moving, especially in the double game week upcoming. So then in terms of Man City, I did stay on, man, for the pre deadline. To be fair, although I'm like juggling with Hari Raya commitment and so on, I knew that news that Haaland gonna start, Alvarez gonna start, KDB gonna start, but Grealish not gonna start. So pretty much I'm still okay bringing on Tony in my starting lineup. So that's where you can see. But pretty much Tony in the end did not produce any points. Even though now Liverpool already recorded back-to-back clean sheet. So basically Liverpool on the rise and Tony did not do anything. But still a disappointment because low scoring points and scored like lower than average point. Man. Yep.
Yeah, it's I guess it's a disappointing week, but in the end, your rank, your barely moved. It's really almost like a gray arrow. So you only moved 500 spots.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it wasn't so bad. But it goes to show that the most of the teams around probably had not much of a big difference in between the teams. So
yeah, I think whoever Captain Salah, like you mentioned, and also who actually own McAllister instead of March or me, I think they gain some rank. I think so. So then what we can do is only move forward. Let's go to some stats for game week 35, man, just to recap what happened in game week 35. No surprise, Haaland is the most captain in game week 35 with 7 million. Things like 11 million players right now, but he only scored 2 points. The brave one, 900,000 who actually captain Salah did get rewards because Salah actually scored a goal and 3 bonus points, if I'm not mistaken, 10 points overall. So basically 8 points more than Haaland, all right? And Jesus, the third highest captain. I'm not sure whether this is a ghost team or not, but almost 500,000 managers said captain Jesus, but only scored 2 points. In terms of the most transferred in players, Callum Wilson was the most transferred in, but only scored 2 points with 330,000 managers did not gain anything from Wilson transfer. Estepona second, disappointing for 293,000 managers who actually brought the Colombian defender in, only nil point. And Rashford, the third most transferred in, also got only 2 points. But pretty much Rashford, game week 37 is on the rise. So in terms of game week 35, most transfer out pretty much did not damage any managers who actually decided KDB, Jota, or even Tony to most 3 transfer out players in game week 35 because they blank. So what you can make up of this game week 35 stats, me at least?
Well, the simple conclusion that it seemed like it was better off to not do any transfers at all and just hold your transfer, because a lot of the popular picks all failed to return. So yeah, it was, I think yeah, a lot of people. So really, it just boiled down to the captaincy, and maybe some random players had there, because even Wilson, Isaac failed to return, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Shaw, all of these are the popular picks moving in, especially for the back because of the double game week. And of course, Haaland failed to return, Grealish didn't start, so a lot of popular picks failed to return. So Liverpool had TAA and Salah, and they both returned, but of course, those who captain Salah, that was the main difference. Yeah, so because it was also only a 1-0 win anyway. Yeah.
All right, fair. We look at team of the week for game week 35. Surprise, whoever thought Dwight McNeil, who actually scored the highest point for game week 35 with 21 points. It's a big one. I think he scored 2 goals and 2 assists. Got those 3 bonus points. So Dwight McNeil actually the highest performer for game week 35. Other than that, we can see in goal, Ramsdale, quite rarely he actually featured in this kind of team of the week, but Arsenal did win against Newcastle 2-0, and Ramsdale did make some important save. He got 10 points there. Totti, 40 points. I just want to touch David Monday, Fantasy Football Cup. He actually shared his team that he got Totti on the bench and pretty much bench without anyone else playing, and he got actually Totti in, replacing I'm not sure who did not feature, and rewarded with that 40 points. So that's really Jamie on him, but he got that 40 points. Other than that, we have Van Dijk 11 points. Okay, that's I think he actually produced the NCs and clean sheet for Liverpool. Pedro Porro, some talking points before this, but he actually produced these 12 points for Spurs. I think assist for Kane, and then clean sheet for Spurs. Two Everton players, Dwight Meunier and De Corey, who actually scored 2 goals in that game, 30 points. Fulham players, we have 3 players here. A big 5-3 goal thriller, Leicester and Fulham. So that's where we can see features the likes of Fulham players, Willian, Carney and Vinicius, 15, 14 and 9 points respectively. JWP, whoever thought, Southampton 4-3 thriller against Forest. He got deep points, and Forest player also here, Awoni, so 12 points and 30 points respectively for them. So what you can comment on this, Min?
Well,
it's not like usual suspect in here.
Yeah, so you got Willian, Pedro Porro though. I think he found his way into a couple of teams simply because he was taking a lot of free kicks as well. James Ward-Prowse, he's coming back again, but
we are not going to pick him, right?
I think the dying fight for Southampton. I wonder whether he'll go to another club if Southampton get relegated. 2 Everton players, McNeil and Doucouré. Again, Everton. We talked about this before the stream started, but are we gonna suddenly randomly go for Everton against a City that's looking to try to secure the title as soon as they can? So no. So most of these players aren't likely to be looked at. Totti, Ramsdale, Van Dijk, maybe people might just for the third Liverpool option because with Liverpool suddenly keeping clean sheets. So yeah, we might be one to consider. Other than that, you got Awani and Vinicius, and so no, most of these aren't people that we will be considering moving forward.
Yeah, just want to touch about Forest player. We did predict that Forest player gonna have like big weekend against Southampton. We do mention about Giggs White. He scored 11 points, so he's actually have double-digit point. Johnson with an assist, but Awani actually captured with 2 goals in that game. So I think pretty much we predicted the right team, but the players are only.
Yeah. So Forest again, one of those who are fighting to survive the relegation. So yeah, we were looking at Johnson as well. Although in the end, Gibbs White was the one who scored the most, and it's a very vital picking up those points now. But they still need to fight.
All right, man. Let's go to the next topic, which definitely that everyone in the mind right now, which is Isaac versus Wilson dilemma. So we actually posted this Football Hub head-to-head stats between Isaac and Wilson. So we just have a discussion here. This stats is actually between game week 29 to game week 35. In terms of minutes, pretty much Isaac is the one that played most compared to Wilson, which have 542 minutes over 390 minutes and 95 minutes. So over 147 minutes, to be fair, Isaac has. And he did starts the last 6 games, okay, compared to Wilson, only 3 starts. But in terms of goals, okay, Wilson did score most in this 6-game week, 8 goals compared to 4. So I think that's pretty much another point that we can take in terms of his explosiveness. In terms of XG, Wilson is better, 5.05 over 1.95 to Isaac. And but in terms of assist, Isaac has the upper hand, 1.01 against 0.28. Okay, so pretty much Wilson is the one who gonna go score because he's gonna play at center. But Isaac can actually play on the left wing or even in center if let's say Wilson are not featuring. But in terms of big chance, Wilson wins there, 8/4. So I think this a simple stats that we can show between these two players for the last 6 game week. What do you think, man? Isaac versus Wilson on in your mind?
It's a tough one, really, and historically, I think the concern with Wilson is the injury issues, but it looks like David Howie is managing. Did I say David? Eddie Howie is
Eddie Howe, yeah.
managing Wilson quite well, actually, and he says so. And lately he's still clear from injury, and we know how how explosive Wilson can be. And I'm pretty sure that if Isaac and Wilson are both on the field, then Wilson will take the penalties. So now is the question of Newcastle will play Leeds and Brighton. So Brighton could go anyway. Both teams are the top 10, but of course the Leeds one. That is what is making us really want to see which Newcastle assets that we can grab. If you look at that, Wilson's XG is sky high compared to Isaac. And one thing, if Wilson and Isaac play together, Isaac will get shifted to the left. So that will always happen. That's most of the time. On the assist side, Isaac definitely has better assists, although not as drastic as the XGs. Yeah. So if you look at the minutes played, and the output, clearly Wilson is far and away the better FPL output player. Yeah, so we've played about 150 minutes less, but has scored 4 more goals, XG of 4 plus more, equal number of shots, but more big chances as well. So if you were to look at that, then Wilson definitely is the player to go for, even though he may not start 2 matches, but then Isaac might not start 2 matches either. And the thing is, after seeing the Isaac Wilson combo did not come to fruition against Arsenal, I think Eddie Howe is going to take a look at it, and I think maybe he was wrong to do that, and because they are still trying to secure the Champions League spot. And the funny thing is, with both Newcastle and Manchester United losing, Liverpool, I think we mentioned this last week, Liverpool are looking at it and suddenly thinking, hey, wait a minute, is it possible? Is it possible to overtake them? And yeah, because if both Newcastle and or Manchester United lose one more match, Liverpool suddenly become it's to overtake them, because so Liverpool and Newcastle, definitely Liverpool have a far better goal difference than Newcastle, and and Manchester United for that matter. So it's I think the pressure is on both Newcastle and Manchester United at this point.
All right. So just share a bit in terms of stats. Wilson, later we also share on the the points. But in terms of ownership, no surprise, Isaac is at 12.7 ownership compared to Wilson 9.7, still low, 10%, 12%. But we expect by the end of the week, more transfer in will come in. I think Wilson are now most transfer in so far. Okay, if I'm right, because the most transfer in last week is still Wilson. So the traffic is still looks like Wilson. The people are liking more. But I think Isaac in terms of minutes, he's more secured. Maybe at the one thing also that we can share that leads against Newcastle is the early kickoff for game week 36. So then maybe we can have like a team lead of who's going to start. I think if we know that Wilson starts that game and Isaac bench, most probably the reasonable thing that manager's going to do is to get in Wilson instead of Isaac. But if we know Isaac going to start, pretty much people are going to go there. And Isaac is the most popular one that people going to go. in terms of minutes, in terms of points, he can actually score goal, and in terms of assists, he's pretty much better than Wilson. Just a quick one in terms of double-digit points so far of the season. Wilson has 4 compared to Isaac only 2. And recent performance, game week 33 and 34, Wilson is the one that more explosive. 13 points, 12 points he scored in that game. And the latest double digit from Isaac is game week 32, the recent one with 13 points. 6-1 win against Spurs, of which Isaac did score 2 goals, I think, inside in that game. So can I say, if you want to go save one, you go for Isaac, and if you want to try your luck, you go for Wilson? What do you think?
Yes, safe play. If I were to choose between the two, Isaac. Yeah, and if you want to bank on explosive and power and with albeit with less minutes, then Wilson is your man. Yeah,
Right.
It's a bit
So
tough.
like yourself, who already have Isaac, I don't think you're gonna think like swapping sideways. If I say you think Wilson is the better one, right? I don't think so.
You're right, definitely. And so my case is either I look at someone to join with the Wilson to join Isaac, or look for in other areas in defense or in midfield instead.
All right. Just quickly, next one on the predicted points for the next 3 matches at least from Football Hub stats. We can see that in terms of predicted points, okay, I said slightly better than Wilson because they predict in game week 36, Isaac gonna score around 10.8, then 37 6.2, and pretty much in 38 also against Chelsea. I think this is a 4 fixture that Newcastle have. Pretty much if you get in Isaac or Wilson this week, you can safely play them in 37 because they play at home against leaky Leicester, who are in trouble right now. And Chelsea away in last week, which Newcastle might need that point to secure top 4, and Chelsea pretty much are not really in good form. So it's a close one, mate, in terms of predicted point, but Hub did go for Isaac in terms of points, better predicted points, 20.9.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why. I'm not sure how the model that they used to predict this, because they pretty much predicted Isaac to come out on top in every game week, and it feels like one of the biggest basis for that is the X minutes. So yeah, but other the fact that Wilson taking penalties, and when he comes on, he will always play in the center compared to Isaac. So I don't know. I'm not that comfortable with this.
All right.
You're right. Isaac is safe play, but I think Wilson is definitely capable of scoring more points.
All right, pretty much we will decide who's we gonna get in. But if let's say whether Isaac or Wilson, pretty much also when we come to captaincy pick, these are the players that we're going to captain anyway. So we have to decide against safe in terms of Isaac, or potential explosiveness for Wilson. I think that's where you need to decide where you stand. All right. Okay, man. I think pretty much we already sum up in terms of Isaac versus Wilson dilemma. If you want to really to hear more in depth Isaac Wilson, you can hear because I actually went through the FPL wire discussion really in details. Zofa, Pras, and Letterer did discuss in detail, so you can go inside there and hear about it, and you decide on your own which one player that you feel is the right one. Let's go next one, man. In terms of Solimash replacement, there is potential that Solimash not gonna play in game 36 or because he pulling his hamstring, and I think Hub also did mention maybe a sideways is the right way to go, not overthinking, because like myself who has Solimash and Mitoma, I think I can do sideways, go with McAllister, who actually in form right now. I can say he's got 11 and 8 points in recent weeks. If you're partnering much and McAllister, I think Mitoma pretty much also on the high side. even though in terms of stats, you can see that Mitoma versus McAllister not actually have the most shots, but in terms of goals and assists, he pretty much up there. McAllister do have penalty in his locker. That's why he always on potential, because Brighton could actually get penalty at any time. So it's a close one between Mitoma and McAllister in terms of stats. But I think we can safely say, if you want to go find replacement, maybe these are the next best thing. Just go sideways for or Mitoma or McAllister. What do you think, mate?
The thing is, Mitoma fallen off a cliff, hasn't he? In terms of, he did get the assist last week, but in terms of goals, it's pretty much disappearing. His goals has dropped drastically. McAllister always have that safety of penalties, and somehow or rather of the opposition always manages to find a way of conceding a penalty, and Manchester United being one of them. So and it was just crazy that Everton were getting trashed, and Everton were trashing Brighton, yet somehow suddenly McAllister, they get a penalty and McAllister scores again. So I think that if you've already made your bed, I think you just have to lie in it. I don't think there's. I mean, most of us probably have March and Mitoma and Estupiñán or Steele. You probably at the moment most of us have two defenders, or March and McAllister, and Estupiñán or Steele.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if people have Mitoma and March and McAllister and not have March.
Ooh.
That's probably those who did, well done, you, because you managed to avoid the least productive person for the past few weeks, which is March. But if I were to choose between two, if you don't have them, then I would probably go McAllister.
I think pretty much.
Because the reality is, I think Leeds are quite capable of conceding penalties. I think so.
But in terms of fixture for this week, later we touch. They played away both, which is Arsenal and Newcastle.
Yeah, sorry. Leeds was Newcastle, wasn't it?
So it's a tough fixture this week.
Okay, so yeah, so yeah, thanks. I forgot. I got that wrong. So it's not easy. Those are not easy fixtures. So I don't know whether it's worth going if you don't already have them. You're going against Arsenal, who haven't given up the title fight, and you're playing against Newcastle, who are fighting for the Champions League position, and both matches are away. Although, to be fair, Brighton don't seem to have a problem playing away, but it's tough. So for me, if I didn't already have these players, I wouldn't go for them. So if I had Solly March, although I don't, I might be more tempted to look at Newcastle midfielder instead, rather than going for another Brighton player.
Since you touch on that, let's go to the next page, of which there may be some other differential that we can see in terms of Newcastle midfield, because if let's say you are limited on budget, because Solly March around 5.3 million right now, you can do McAllister at 5.5 million or Mitoma at 5.6. But Newcastle do have some option, the likes of Willock, 4.7 million, who are predicted going to have a higher point, total expected goal informant, Gameweek 29 to 35 is the highest. Jacob Murphy, 4.2 million. Maybe it's not like the, what you call this? The one that people fancy, Murphy. But he's still producing points. And then Jolinton, 6 million, if you have the money. These are three among player that features a lot in the Eddie Howe team, and playing a pivotal figure in Newcastle. So what do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm just trying to look when Isaac and Wilson played. Who did they play among Willock, Murphy, or Jolinton?
I think because long staff injury, that makes what Eddie Howe did that changes. Most probably they play Longstaff on the right, okay, and then Willock on the left.
Mm.
But pretty much that is the structure that Eddie Howe did play. Jonathan is still the main man in center with Bruno G. But because that Almiron, okay,
Yeah,
for
Almiron,
is
that was
struggling to coming back. ASM has featured again
yeah.
from the bench last week. But these are just some cheap option that you can go, me. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a case of trying to look at whether, because Newcastle losing last week, is there they lost to Arsenal, but is there any space for them to consider changing it because of that loss? And watching that Newcastle match, I think Newcastle Arsenal match, Newcastle were, they hit the post multiple times. I think they were quite unlucky not to get at least a goal out of that match. So I think that uh, assuming Longstaff is still out, and it looks like he will be, I think they still field field the same lineup. I think it's quite possible. I think ASM will continue to be an impact player. Um,
Okay.
Gordon will not really get a chance into the
Mm.
starting lineup. I think it's just the combination of Willock, Joelinton, and maybe to a lesser extent Murphy. They will still most likely get and Elman will again come off the bench for now.
Right, man. Just share a bit other differential that people can go that community did mention. Arsenal assets like Odegaard, if you have the money, is kind of below 7 million right now, 6.7 million. And he already scored back-to-back goals, 15 points and 10 points. So recent performance Odegaard. Yeah, Arsenal do not double, but in terms of fixture, they're quite favorable. If I'm not mistaken, they play the likes of Fulham, of Wolf. Okay, so there's some potential there. Other than that, Brighton assets that people do not talk about is Gross. So if let's say he could come in at 5.4 million, and if much will not feature, then Gross will take most of the set pieces. So I think that's the one thing that we can think of. But the recent one that Gross do score is actually 14 points, double digit points, which Brighton wins against Wolf 6-0. Other than that, Crystal Palace asset, as I always say, Crystal Palace have 3 good fixture coming to the end of the season. Like Isaiah 5.5, Olise 5.3 million. They do have some good double digits scored recently for Olise in game week 30. Leeds 5-1, he scored 14 points. Eze, recent game week 34, 9 points. Game week 31, 16 points. So there's some form in terms at least for those assets.
So now it's there's plenty of assets there. So but I guess the question that you need to ask with Crystal Palace is whether they are already on holiday. Although and they're just out to have fun, and we can see by the explosive 4-3 goals, 4-3 match that they just had. So I'm not. It's just too worrying for me to look at Crystal Palace, because I think they are relatively safe already.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they at 40 points, and another team that's safe, and then we don't know what's going to happen to them is Chelsea. After they suddenly decided to and win their match 3-1. So you got to look at teams who are still fighting for something. So
yeah, I agree with that. Target team which have something to fight. Yeah.
Obviously, and that's why it makes this week's games for the double gamers very attractive, because Newcastle and Brighton are both fighting for for Europe or for top 4 Champions League automatic qualification as well. So it's a tough one, and now that I'm looking at that Newcastle, because I was trying to find a way to get Joelinton in, because my first choice is Joelinton, and Unfortunately,
Okay.
I don't have enough funds to do a normal transfer without taking a hit. So, but I'm that Willock looks really tempting. 4.7, I can afford that because I do have, and it will be by selling Andreas. As you know, I have Andreas who's no longer going to be available for the season. And one thing to bear in mind with as we come to the business end of the season, which is the last 3 game week, it may be a good idea to stock up your bench with players who will play when you're planning the rest of your transfers, because we're at that stage of the season where managers who don't have anything to play for, they're going to tinker with the lineup and look at see see what they can do and give some more youngsters more exposure. So that's dangerous. So that's why like Bournemouth, for example, they relatively they relatively safe. They're at 39 points. I think they're pretty much safe as well. So
In
I
term
have
in terms of relegation better, I think only four teams that gonna be concerned: Leicester, Leeds, Everton, and Forest. But I think pretty much Leeds and Leicester are gonna be worried more because in terms of their fixture also.
okay. So you're pretty much saying that Southampton are doomed. So it really
I,
is
I think
between.
so. I think so. To be fair,
Yeah, it's gonna be. Well, we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so you got Leicester City. Madison is always there as an option, but again, the problem with these players is again that there are teams that will double in game week 37 as well. So you
yeah.
got Manchester United, Manchester City, Brighton one more time, and Chelsea.
And Chelsea, yeah.
So you need to decide. And Brighton's fixtures don't get any better. They do play Southampton, which is good, but then they play City. But the thing is, when Brighton plays City, by then City may have already. It's possible that City may have already won the title, meaning that Pep might do something and Brighton might have a chance to exploit that, but we don't know.
Yeah. And since you touch on that, Brighton have like 4 fixture back to back midweek. They could Arsenal and Newcastle is a tough match this week. So most probably this will be going to play his full lineup, his full strength lineup. And maybe that's a Southampton game. He's going to rest the key players before the Man City game. So that's really tricky. Okay. So let's go to game week 36, man. We just have a look. We did mention Newcastle and Brighton going to double this week. Early kickoff, Leeds United versus Newcastle at 7:30 p.m. Malaysian time on Saturday. Okay. We hope we're going to have some team leaks so we can prepare ourselves. Other that single game weeks, maybe some of the fixture that can interest us to invest. Maybe we have Aston Villa versus Spurs. Both teams are still in fight for European places, right? Although Aston Villa has been coming off the wheel a bit, but Spurs did get an important win last week against Crystal Palace. So this interesting match. Chelsea, pretty much they're going to finish mid-table, but they want to finish the season on the high. But they're going to fight Forest, who desperate for points. So these are pretty interesting. Chelsea cannot lay back because Forest going to really attack this game. I want to try to get as much as 3 points if possible. Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth, pretty much safe. But this another London derby. Palace versus Bournemouth. So pretty much it's going to be tight. Manchester United stay fighting for top 4 against Wolves, who had a recent good win against Aston Villa 1-0 last week. Southampton versus Fulham. This is the match, man. Southampton, if they lost this game, so they're going to do. So unless they're going to give a last fight against Fulham, but Mitrovic is back in this game.
Yeah.
So interesting. We then have on Sunday, Brentford versus West Ham. Okay, West Ham do play European Conference League this game week, so maybe they're gonna rotate the team against Brentford. Everton versus Man City. This is a big one because Everton has pretty much shocked us with 5-1 win against Brighton. They want to perform good in front of their crowd, but it's against Man City, right? I think pretty much a close match. Also, Arsenal versus Brighton, both has something to play. Arsenal want to at least keep up their hope winning the league title by winning this match, but Brighton is also has European place in their mind. On Monday night, is it Leicester versus Liverpool? Interesting match again, man. Both team needs point. Leicester want to get these 3 points badly against. They pretty much need every points they can in the last 3 games. So and then midweek we have Newcastle versus Brighton.
Okay, so if you look at it, you take definitely the right fixtures in the sense that all those teams involved are all fighting for something. So to add to those fixtures, Leicester versus Liverpool. Leicester are fighting to survive relegation. Liverpool are fighting for a European space, and dare I say also now a Champions League space. Okay, then you've got I think, and that's the only addition, I guess. Let me just take a look at the table again.
Okay.
Aston Villa might still have a shot at getting an Europe spot as
Okay.
well. If that's the case, then Spurs, the Aston Villa Spurs, will also be something interesting to watch. And with Harry Kane, you can you can just expect that he will continue to step up for Spurs despite the rest of his squad doing nothing. So Southampton versus Fulham is interesting. Not well, Fulham are safe, so they're not fighting for anything. They're too far from Europe. So Southampton are going to need to win this game. At the same time, judging from the last matches, it looks as though they've pretty much their defense is pretty much out, so they're going to rely on scoring as many goals as possible, and that's why Mitrovic could be really nice cheeky pick there, even though he's only going to play one. But then because after that he also plays, next match Fulham will play Crystal Palace also, and that's a and the thing with why Mitrovic becomes attractive because he hasn't played for the last 8 games, 8 or 9 games, was it? Yeah, so I don't think he'll be rotated to make way for youngsters at this point. I think they'll just let him play, finish off the season, and get as many goals as possible. It's definitely something to look at. Dangerous, but yeah, I mean, definitely going against the tide, but he could really well explode if he wanted to.
All right, man. Let's go next one.
Sorry, one more thing. So the other thing, although of a lesser extent, which is Everton versus Manchester City. Everton obviously are fighting against relegation. Manchester City are trying to secure the title as soon as possible. So that's where, but even after this match, even if City win and Arsenal win, then the title still won't be secured yet. So
Arsenal going to continue to close at least against Brighton. So definitely that also an interesting match, man. Okay. I think let's go to captaincy pick. Football Scout did see. I think no surprise because I said and will say is the top two that people are picking this week. I said it's the more prominent one with 40% of voters going to go in. Top three is actually Newcastle. I said if you believe that Trippier could be the one, maybe that is a cheeky one. Double back-to-back clean sheet. I don't know. Trippier producing the performance of his life, but I'm not sure whether people want to captain other than double game week players, man. Other than Newcastle and Brighton. What do you think, man?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one. Liverpool play Leicester, and that's why it looks attractive because Leicester's defense isn't there either. Yeah, I mean the last match, what was it? Fulham 5, Leicester 3. It was one of those last 3 matches that was just crazy with goals. So yeah, I think I don't think you would captain a Brighton player, and you can see only McAllister is very little there. So it's either you captain a Newcastle player or you could seriously look at Liverpool.
What do you think, man? We discussed offline before we go into stream that Haaland might actually play in against Everton game. So maybe people still go with Haaland?
Haaland will still play. I feel I'm one of those who feel that Haaland will still play, but the sheer worry of that bench possibility is will put a lot of people off the captaincy. Plus the fact that it isn't a double game, so he could well do well. He is playing Everton for crying out loud. So um, you have to look at it logically and decide.
Yeah.
Is Haaland going to start? I mean, the first question you need to decide is Haaland going to start? Because right now, regardless of whether or not he starts, we will field him. He's already a starting left. We're not going to bench him, right? Unless Pep says, we're going to rest him for Real Madrid. And even then, you don't know if he's bullshitting us. Suddenly, yesterday we decided I think we better start him instead. So that he can get some minutes in. So it's that doubt is going to trickle us because it's not a Saturday match. That's going to be hinging on everyone's minds, and the fact that it's not a double is putting off people of Haaland. Having said that, I do think it's still a great captaincy pick, and yeah,
we definitely going to expect most of the managers this week we captain one of those Newcastle asset, right? I mean, whether Isaac or Wilson, but Isaac will be the popular one, I feel. All right, I think just a quick one, fixture ticker. Brighton is still on top, so there's really a good reason why you need to invest with them. But Gameweek 36, they play Arsenal and Newcastle. They do play Southampton in 37, but Man City is the next other match in Gameweek 37. And they end their season with playing away to Villa, which they might actually have something to play, Villa. All right. Then Manchester United and Man City will touch more next week, because they do double next week in Gameweek 37. That's why they are really top in terms of fixture ticker. And then we have Newcastle because they're going to double this week. Pretty much I just want to say that I think these are the focus point that you should target, but unless you favor other single game weeks like Palace, Liverpool, Arsenal, maybe they have Brighton, Forest, and Wolves.
Yeah, I got distracted starting to look at the options of the single gamers, seeing what's a possibility. Yeah.
You can see that Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Forest. So pretty much the Eze Olise could be a great punt. But you did mention Crystal Palace. Do they have something to play anymore? But I don't think so.
Yeah,
right?
So just worrying about the tinkering that might start to happen, and that's why I'm not very confident of going for them, even though the fixtures do look good. I'm just look. Yeah, I don't. Look, if you look at that, Kane. Oh, hello. Disconnected. I'm not sure if I'm the one who's disconnected, but it looks like Hafiz has hanged. So I'm just going to continue, assuming that you guys are still there.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, he's back. Okay, I was just I was rambling.
We have I have some network issue.
Okay.
We can continue,
Okay, yeah. So it was just a case of looking at.
We go to Team P, which is yours first.
Okay, so I got 0.9 in the bank, and I'm not locking. I know that Solanke was in the spur of the moment thinking that they could score against Chelsea. That didn't happen, and now I feel that was a bad move because now I'm looking at him thinking that Bournemouth are safe. They could just start rotating and trying other things. So I'm looking at moving Solanke on. Unfortunately, I can't do a direct Mitrovic transfer. I fall just short. So the case now is Andreas for Willock or Murphy. Willock, of course, is the more attractive one at the moment. That's if I just want to do one transfer and be with it. But if I want to go adventurous, that's where you have the likes of Mitrovic coming in. But because Gakpo definitely Gakpo was always going to be a long term and to last till the end of the season. So TAA, Gakpo, Salah not going to change. Rashford, Shaw, they do double next week, so I'm not going to change that either. Steele, Trippier, of course, doubling now. Mitoma doubling now. Isaac doubling now. So there's not really that many options in terms of changing. So the options that I would could conceivably change are Solanke, Stones, Andreas, Raya, and God forbid Haaland. So so it is between those players, and yeah, Lindelof is there, and you know I want him for the double game,
Yep, yep,
because the one thing United is they're going to try their best to keep a clean sheet. I feel that they're going to try to they're happy with if they can secure 1-0 wins as long as they win. Um, so they're going to put some more emphasis on the defense. Stones is also a candidate for to be sold simply because you can never be sure of this City back line in terms of who will play. So and even though the only thing is that Stones City do double next week, but then that's no guarantee that Stones will play both games either. Yeah. So at the moment, it is uh, I would think that I would hold on Stones for now and look at changing either
yep.
Andreas, Solanke. Yeah, pretty much Andreas or Solanke.
Yeah.
So
I think
so
you can go Andreas to Willock like you mentioned, because currently you
yeah,
only have four players that double, which is Steele, Trippier, Mitoma, and Isaac. So you can
right.
actually fill out like another one or two players from those team. I think this more reason that you mess up on Newcastle spot, man. So you can go Willock. I think that can be a great point. Okay. In terms of Brighton, because they play both away and then the both opponents are a tough one, Arsenal and Newcastle. I think maybe you should go that road. Solanke, so if let's say you bring in that Willock, so you're going to play him, and I guess you're gonna bench Solanke. I think that's the reasonable one. Then the rest you're
Yeah,
gonna play.
correct. So if I choose to go Willock, I will bench Solanke. I
All
think I
right.
need to do a Hafiz and not go crazy on transfers again, and let's just try to hold it down to one transfer this week.
All right, and I can see you're gonna captain Isaac, I mean. So that's pretty much sum up your team. Yep. I think that's good. All right, let's go to my team, of which I have a different shape from Azmin, because I already have six double game week players, because we already planned so long since we wildcarded, because I actually bring in three Brighton players and two Newcastle assets before this. I have Raya in goals over Kepa. I don't know. Kepa could be the one who play this week, but I feel Raya has a better potential. West Ham could actually rotate his team and play second fiddle, because they want to concentrate on Europe, and pretty much I can say they are safe from relegation. So I think West Ham should be comfortable, and Brentford, at least they are at home. They're pretty much a better team. All right, keeping clean sheet. I have two Newcastle defense, Trippier and Bournemouth, and I have Estupinan. There's also talking points like maybe we should play Trent Alexander, TAA, because he playing Leicester and he could actually potential Hall over the likes of Estupinan. Okay, because they play both away, and in terms of away performance, Brighton do concede goals most of the time. So in midfield, I have Mitoma and March, Rashford and Salah. I think this team will stay, but March is the one that I need to consider. I have two free transfer, right, for this coming to this game week. I have Alvarez, Haaland, and Tony. Tony will definitely go, whether is will be in the form of Isaac or Wilson. Pretty much going to stay on the deadline, pre-deadline, see whether I can get some team news. And I'm going to captain that person. In terms of my bench, Grealish, TA, and Henry. Grealish could, if let's say I've decided that much maybe not going to play, and I'm not interested to go sideways, maybe Grealish OTA could come in. I think that can pretty much still good, and I will focus my role transfer to the next week, which is game week 37. We have more interesting Man United, Man City games, or even Brighton later. So yeah, man, what do you think?
It's a very, very. You seem to have some dilemmas in terms of benching. Which
Yep.
single game week player that you would like to bench, and I think you. I don't think TAA belongs on the bench. But that's the problem you have because you also have Alvarez and Tony there. So if I were to look at that, I would say bench Tony on the face of it. If it was, but the
Yeah,
problem.
but that Tony will become a Newcastle player, I mean. So whether I said
Sorry.
or
So that makes it worse for TAA to come in. So then becomes the thing is, you would definitely expect Alvarez to play a role for this weekend, whether it's with Haaland or instead of Haaland, simply because of that Real Madrid match. So Alvarez will definitely get played against Everton. So unfortunately, that means TA will go to the bench regardless. Yeah, even though
there's a lot of managers going to have this benching dilemma, I mean, because they might have double defense like me, Newcastle, and then they have, if they do not have Estupinan, maybe they can play TU. Because they have Steel, maybe the Ocean. But in terms of ownership, I'm surprised to actually get news that Steel only owned by 5.4%, and Estupinan is higher, 16.7. There's a lot of managers going to have Estupinan, so this could be the lineup that they're going to face.
Yeah, the thing is because with Steel, you're gonna have to rely on saves to get points because we don't, it just doesn't look likely that he'll keep a clean sheet. So it'll be really, if he does that's incredible. Well, if he keeps a clean sheet, that means Estupinan does as well. But for Estupinan, you'd think that he had again like Steel, he can't rely on the clean sheet. He's gonna have to look at attacking returns. Yeah, so that's the. But of course, those who already have 3 Brighton. That's it. You'd want to play them anyway. Why would you bench them, right?
Okay,
So just now you mentioned Tony would go for a Newcastle player, and March would go for a new.
it could be McAllister if I want to sideways, but I'm still thinking about it.
Good luck. Let's get closer to the team news. I wouldn't want to be in your team. If I had your team, I'd end up taking hits again.
Okay, man, let's go to question because a lot of question here we can take. Let's see what. Most definitely, this is a common question. I think we can go anywhere, like I mentioned. Safety, you go Isaac. Explosiveness, you can go Wilson. But if you got the team leagues, either of them starts and the other guy bench, I think we go to that player.
Yeah, so we've discussed this already, and I think we're holding on to what we talked about earlier. Isaac will get more minutes, but Wilson can be explosive.
Shah did produce -2 points. You Ichi, if let's say you have keep or sell, I think it's a keep because you're playing double.
It's a keep because and for all you know, Shah might be looking to make amends and he'll be shooting on side. So keep.
All right. We did discuss about Willock, Jolinton, Murphy discussion. You favor Willock? I think I favor that because in terms of price 4.7. But if you can afford Jolinton, I don't know. Maybe he can be a good find.
If you can afford Jolinton, otherwise Willock. I just think Murphy's position is not entirely stable. He does get subbed a lot as well, especially for ASM. So, but Willock is more confident. I'm more confident of him getting more.
Right. Just a quick one. I don't know. Kraken FPL like Chelsea player. If you want to find Chelsea player, Maduka, Felix, or Havertz. I have no interest, but maybe Azmin can give insight.
Felix, because he scored last game, and you think that maybe he can go on. So Felix, it is for me. Plus, he's just better than Havertz, I would think.
Play Kepa. I talk about Kepa or versus Raya, but this different question. Kepa over there here. but both playing at home. Main, what do you think?
De Gea had the most horrible game last week against the mistake against West Ham. I think Chelsea might be up for it, but again, I don't think either will keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think
But
they here could actually have a better chance keeping clean sheet because Wolves away, and Forest do have something to play.
correct, yeah. So De Gea for me.
All right. This question I can answer because I have Grealish. Yes, we might not sure where the Grealish going to play, but I think I'm going to keep him because they do double next week. And I will think again next week because after that we're going to know City situation after Everton game and also Real Madrid. Now we're going to know what's kind of lineup. In Champions League, Real Madrid first fixture, all the first team player all play 90 minutes, including Grealish, Haaland, KDB. So that's pretty interesting one. No substitution from Pep. But Everton, they have a really good recovery period, but they do have like 2 days recovery for Real Madrid, but they do play at home. So like we discussed offline, man. So I think I am not sure if you have Grealish.
Yeah, if you have space to field him, because you most likely you're not going to field him, right? It's you're probably going to bench him.
It's going to be tough. All right. Next one, Ortega. I don't know, Edison. Can Edison be benched anytime soon? Is there potential, man?
It's potential, but there's no point risking this. I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, you wouldn't want just one. Yeah, so
Yeah.
no.
So maybe we can also answer this question. Haaland, could Haaland get the rest? We just not gonna know. But I think with this recent Everton performance, I think Pep need to play his best team.
I don't think he'll play his best team, but I think Haaland will start. Yeah, but I think
Okay.
that the uncertainty of how much with with City not playing his best team, meaning that Haaland will not score as much, will put people off captaining Haaland.
All right. Yeah, we discussed a bit in terms of Gross or McAllister. McAllister is the popular one that people will go, even though his ownership is still at 10%. But Gross is a differential one, man.
I think Gross is actually a better option at the moment. I just feel that he will step up in the absence of March, and he can do well. He's been overlooked, despite the fact that overall in terms of points, I think he's second only to March in Brighton. Yeah.
Yep, yep,
So
yep.
so which is funny how it's because he's never considered in the midfield tree, in terms of the selection of Brighton assets, but he is up there.
Interesting question, Min. Shaw at home against Wolf or Estepina who double? But from my experience, before you mention, I've been not having a good luck. If let's say you bench double game week players, you just never know they're gonna perform. That's what I have experienced. So I would definitely play Estepina.
Yeah, it's very hard to go against. You already have the double game.
I think
Why?
this pretty much can also replace with TA over Estupinan. TA more explosive.
Okay, I'm gonna go on the thread and say I think TA will score more than Espinian.
So if that's the case, you're gonna play TA over Estupinan. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last question for Rakan FPL. They asked about double up Isaac Wilson. Yes, if you have opportunity, you should go.
Yeah. I don't.
All right. Okay, Mr. Shaf ask us no longer considering Welbeck. I think he's also can be an option, but with Undaf and Ferguson coming back, not sure about
Yeah.
his minute.
Yeah. So the Ferguson thing issue is that he because he's being talked about again, and I think he may be returning fitness. The thing is, he might end up sharing a lot minutes as well, even if he starts, and it's a problem. And I don't know what Deserby's plans is with Ferguson, whether he'll proceed to continue, or because he Ferguson is getting a lot of suitors at the moment, including Manchester United. So I If you wanted to put Ferguson in the short window, then Ferguson might see a lot more minutes towards the end. But then at the same time, let's not forget that he's still coming back from injury. So, but it's just hard because Undav has scored in as well. So I just don't like the shared minutes.
All right, man. Next is James. I think he did mention about his joins our league, and he's at second place right now. I have a quick look. Yes, is James Stephens. Yes. Welcome to the stream, and congrats, you are at second place in our league right now. But I'm still chasing you. Hopefully, I can do better. But his team actually quite nice than me. He already have McAllister in his team.
Yeah, TJ is an old gang of mine from a
Okay. All right. Okay.
global fantasy football forum.
Okay.
It's now called Your Fantasy Football Forum.
Okay.
So yeah, so he thinks Haaland gets a rest. So that's a bold call, isn't it, TJ? So does that? I guess the question there that if you think Haaland gets a rest, then will you bench him, or or because you wouldn't sell him, of course, because City do double next week. Yeah. So I just feel that Haaland has a chance to set a really great Premier goal scoring record. So yeah, and that's why I thought Pep was also trying to give Haaland a chance to have a really good, hard to beat goal scoring record for the Premier League, which is why I think he'll still start.
All right. I mean, just answer his question. Who will be our captain? If for myself, I'm going to go with Newcastle player. Decided whether Isaac or Wilson. I think pretty much Azmin can see his team. He's going to captain Isaac. And if I see his team, he do not have any of those player yet, so he will decide. All right.
Yeah. Oh, so Hafiz, you think I'm going to captain Isaac? Do you? Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Yep. So I think we can wrap up our streaming. Thank you everyone for watching and join our session and actually posted this question. We pretty much appreciate. And since you are whoever is still around, okay, do hit the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi Show YouTube channel so you can see whenever we are live stream. Okay, normally on Wednesday and Thursday or weekend for deadline stream. Mean for Gameweek 36 deadline will be on Saturday at 6 p.m. because the early kickoff is 7:30 p.m. Malaysia Leeds against Newcastle.
So 6 o'clock. Oh, okay. That's why I'm not doing something during that time. Okay.
All right, your last word, man.
Again, so we safely went through last weekend's deadline, as we were hoping for City players. So this week it's about Newcastle players, isn't it? So be safe and be careful. And if you're confident of your transfers, then go ahead. Don't wait. Again, don't wait. Even though we got through it safely last weekend, there's no guarantee. So all the best.
All right, thank you guys for joining again. See you again. Take care. Bye bye.